Your 20s are usually the time of discovery, growth, and learning. But what if I told you there was two distinct phases of your 20s? And how you approach both those phases will either impact the momentum you take into your 30s or completely derail you on your path. My name is Michael Alfaro. I'm a serial entrepreneur where I've launched companies in the fitness gym space with brick and mortar businesses to the technology space to now with Master Food Lab, where we help brands and creators launch innovative functional foods in markets. We've done over $50 million in revenue over that time, and I want to help you on that phase of your life through your 20s and position you to crush it in your 30s. Let's dive in. So there's two phases. The first phase of your 20s, and not to get into the details of 20, 21, 22, but let's just say the first phase, your early 20s. It's the first time you go into the workforce. Maybe you got your first job, first time you maybe move out of your house, you just finished college, and you're trying to position yourself where you're making money, you're on your own, or life has actually put some responsibilities on your plate that now you gotta handle without support. So you might be able to got into that point where you were in your 18 or 19 years old, but let's just say your early 20s. That's a time where you need to go all in. You need to soak up life. You need to experience. You need to surround yourself with great people that can give you the knowledge or the exposure to just seeing what's possible in the world. But along that journey of you figuring it out, having your first job, making some money, it's the first time where you're trying to discover who you truly are, right? What you love, what you want to do with the rest of your life. But you're also having fun. But at some point along your 20s, something shifts. There's a moment in time, call it your mid-20s, maybe a little bit into your late 20s, where you start questioning whether the path you're on and what you're doing is what will take you where you want to go. Are you actually on the path that's going to give you the opportunity to be where you want to be when you're later in life? And that is the moment in time when internally there's this battle of, this job is probably not gonna put me in the position to succeed where I wanna be, or it's not even in the same line of work. So when you start getting into that second phase, you start to question whether the path that you're on is actually going to put you one step closer to where you wanna be in life. And so you start questioning. It might not mean that you have a bad job, but you start questioning okay, this is what I want out of life, and where I am today, is it actually getting me one step closer, or is it taking me in a completely different path? And so those internal discussions actually start to move you where you have this sense of, I don't feel like what I'm doing today is what's gonna get me to where I wanna go. And so let me start to shift, whether that's the job, whether that's the people that are around you, whether it's the skills you're trying to develop. There's something that internally shifts the mindset for, I need to put myself in another opportunity where I'm able to be positioned so that by the time I get into my 30s, right? And this happens naturally. You might not be as aware to see it from the outside in, but from experience, it actually happens. And from conversations that I've had with people that are close to me that are now in their mid-20s, they're like, man, I think a lot more about where I'm gonna be in life, or if I'm actually getting one step closer, if I'm putting in the work today that's gonna help me execute on where I wanna be. And so that second phase, you have to have intent. You have to say, who am I around, right? Who are the people, the mentors? What skills am I possessing, or where am I trying to build the skill stack? And is what I'm doing today gonna get me there, right? And if that's not the case, then at that moment in time, you should invest the time, the energy, and don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to take risks. Don't be afraid to change positions. You're still so early in your skill set that when I look at your 20s, I try to give the advice that I would rather you put in as much effort and time into learning versus trying to actually make money. Most people hit their 20s and just want to build companies and launch things instead of surrounding themselves with the people that have done it and trying to shorten that gap of time of the knowledge curve so that when they do get into their late 20s and into their early 30s, they already have built a skill set and value that they're able to enter those 30s with momentum, all right? And so taking the two phases of your 20s, the second phase of your 20s should really be in around refining your craft, your position, and refining your skills against what your passions truly lie in that moment after you've had some time in your early 30s to experience or get into that responsibility and then see what you do like and what you don't like. Take your late 20s and do this. Look and ask yourself this question. If I kept at it, giving it 110%, will it give me what I want, or will it take me where I want to go in 10 years? And if the answer is no, or oh, I don't think so, or maybe, then you should ask deeper questions. Has somebody else done it? Is the journey that you're on actually going to get you there or not? Because if it's not, you need to make a pivot now. Now's the time where you have to put in the work in your late 20s, pivot, take the risk, take the chances, and put yourself in a position that you're actually digging in to where you want to go in your 30s. And you will enter your 30s with an unbelievable momentum because you've already built the skill stack. You would have had the experience, you would have tested out the waters, you would have been mentored by great people that you surrounded yourself with, and you would enter your 30s with the actual energy and the skill set to crush. So no, you don't want to take your 20s lightly. Break them up into the 2 phases. Understand that your first phase, just go all in. Absorb, learn, and your late 20s, refine, pivot, and go into where you want to go out of life. And make sure that you're giving it everything you got to get you one step closer to your dreams. And if you're asking yourself questions that can help you try to figure out exactly what it is that you want to do or how you should pivot, check out my next video where I get grilled on 20+ questions of exactly that.